Welcome back to MCOC, Al Bundy Rules. I now have Chapter 3 here for you for the brand new event quest for October 2020 that came out recently. I have already done Chapters 1 and Chapters 2 on separate videos of item-free walkthroughs. If you missed those and need some assistance there, this will be Chapter 3, in which I'll have Chapter 3.1 and 3.2, which is going to make it all the way through. With no items, we're seeing here on what we got between what kind of classes the new Cavalier difficulty has been focused on a specific class. So I'm taking a look at what will be the most beneficial here. Mutants are going to shine, especially on Bleed, where they can get extra prowess. So that's an easy choice for me on Magneto and Emma. Was my next mutant choice. As I've done on the other chapters, I bring at least 2 or 3 to kind of exploit or help with whatever the positive benefits are on the nodes on Cavalier. And then I bring a couple good for specifically the boss. And using the boss new champs are always a little more complicated, so I brought a couple of versatile options for the boss, because that'll be my first time fighting him, so want to be prepared. So meanwhile, now going through the hood, start off with Magneto. Based on these nodes, Magneto should absolutely shine, I'm expecting. But let's see, occasionally when I rush through nodes a little quick, I make a couple mistakes. But we learn what through them together, and that way you don't make the same if I do. So starting off with my basic Magneto strategy, you have seen me use him in a few other of the new event quest fights, as he's outstanding. Hair Hood is a non-metal champ, but as I've said multiple times, contrary to belief, he is still extremely good against non-metal champs, just not the same level of ridiculous OP as metal. So here we go. Gonna do an S3 here on Hood. I had a 30 prowess there, nothing too crazy, and I got 26 bleeds. So I'm just gonna kind of hang back and finish Hood off nice and gently. And make a nice easy fight. Still out of there at 100%. One thing I'm very much enjoy suicide masteries. Therefore I really like Magneto, because that gives me actually a little bit of a healing, kind of similar to Corvus, which is always nice. Now going to Ronan. I see he's a metal champ. Never know, with metal tags are very inconsistent on this game. So that's an easy choice who I'm bringing here. So Magneto gonna do my thing. And if you're not overly familiar with Magneto since the buff, I did do a 4-minute tutorial on him recently after the buff last week. Would definitely recommend that. You're going to see a main primary focus, but if you don't understand how I'm getting the prowess unstoppable or the doubling and charging, I highly recommend the 4-minute video. Learn everything you need in 4 minutes, or my other 4-minute tutorials can be very helpful in learning champs quick. Why spend 15-20 minutes seeing the same repetitive stuff when you can learn all the exact same stuff in 4 minutes? So here I'm getting all my prowess going. Can double them up. I'm at 42. That's the good number. Going to do this S3 on a metal champ. This should be nice and fun. And got some decent damage. Look at that shrapnel bleed going on. 7,500 a tick. And yeah, let him just knock himself out. Gonna move up now. Go Mole Man. And he's not a metal, but I still like Magneto for most fights, including non-metal as well. So I'm going to use the same basic strategy normally. Is pretty much a parry heavy. A lot of parry heavy champs these days. Charging up the prowess there. And although Magneto definitely shines on the parry heavies and heavy charges to get those prowess up, he can still do some pretty dang decent damage with some 5-hit combos as well as need be. And you will see me sporadically break off to 5-hit combos based on, well, if I can get a heavy or not, but also to get the power up, especially against non-metal champs. You will much more frequently see me go into 5-hit combos to get the power up because I have a max of 5 from the regular heavy charges, not including the charge ones. It was having a difficult time there on my power issues, so I just went ahead and used an S1 there. This node's a little tricky, and there was just a silly mistake against the Unstoppable, so Moleman's giving me a little bit of a difficult time. In hindsight, Magneto was not the best choice for this fight, especially with the nodes, and I made a few mistakes of hitting his block, which has given me poison. I should have used a poison immune, or I should not hit into his block. Either way, we could look at it. And there we go, hit his block again, and look how quick that damage just eats me up. So I have been my own worst enemy in this fight. Sometimes I'll forget about the nodes, and I'm already down at 9 per one from 100 to 9, but that's okay. Again, good thing about Magneto, as long as I got bleeds, I actually heal with my current mastery setup, so I can get some of this damage back, and I can sustain Magneto for quite a while as long as I play a little less silly and remember to stop hitting into the block. That has been by far my worst enemy this fight. And I learned that mistake too. Remember these nodes. Bring someone who could be somewhat friendly or a mutant based on the node. And if you don't bring or use a poison immune, don't hit into the block. You see how bad that ate up that health and how quick. So moving on up now to Spider Gwen. She's an evader. So I brought a nice little utility mutant, probably my favorite utility in the game for any of you who have seen this in the past. If you're not familiar with how to use her, I highly recommend my 4-minute tutorial on her. She does so much, it's crazy, really like 2 separate characters in one. You saw I switched her to telepath with 3 heavies purposefully. Now I can't be evaded, so I don't want to have to worry about Spider Gwen doing weird things to me, so I went ahead and switched. Won't be missed. Unfortunately, I hit into block again and did poison. I didn't learn my lesson on Moleman. I could have kept Emma in diamond form to have her poison immune and not have that issue, but I weighed my options. Do I want to have her immunities, or do I want to have her not getting evaded constantly by Spider Gwen? So that was an easy choice for me, as long as I try to be a little smarter and not hitting into the block. You see how she evades in diamond mode, but will not do that in telepath. So I want to switch back to telepath so I could finish this fight up. You saw that great S2 I did, and would like to get another one if I could get to S2 again, and I hit into poison yet again. I don't like this node without poison. Defend, and you see a good over 100,000 S2 right there. Gotta love Emma's S2 and her amazing utility. Again, similar with my Magneto, I lost all my health due to simple, stupid hitting into the block on the poison popping up on this node, so be careful with that. However, I don't mind making a few mistakes, that way you see how bad it really hurts, along with I'll get through it. So far, Cavalier difficulty has been extremely easy this month. So I'm not worried about a little bit of issues. You'll see again Magneto. I brought Magneto in here mainly because I know I could get him healed up a little bit. So playing a little safe, get some health back up. I was my own worst enemy, and Moleman did a really bad job hitting into the block, getting a lot of poison debuffs, which just ate up my health. Blades are actually my friend with Magneto with my current mastery setup, as we see. Again, playing safe my parry heavy combo, even though a non-metal champ can still do well with this. Non-metal champ, a good 53,000 S2 with not even that many prowess up. Again, does pretty awesome damage. All around, really. Need to include metal and non-metal champs. Also got me that armor break, which is helpful. And go ahead and wrap up this World War II Captain America fight. And moving on along the path now. Going on this Dr. Voodoo fight now. Double checking. The biohazard's the one that has been by far my biggest enemy. Again, if I had just used a poison immune such as Warlock, I wouldn't be in the issue I am, but I wanted to take advantage of the mutant node, so made a decision, and I haven't lost anyone yet, even though I have definitely done a lot of damage to myself. But Magneto right now, again, a non-metal champ, but I know I can, as we've seen, heal back a little bit of damage if I play somewhat passive. Again, I'm switched out 5-hit combos sometimes instead of just the parry heavy just to get my health up. If this was a metal champ and I didn't have that cap of 5 from the normal prowess, I would just keep doing heavies until I got higher up. But it loses a purpose on non-metal because it caps at 5. And if I don't get my health, and if I start charging them too early, I'll lose my charges before I have enough for an S2 or an S3, preferably S3 of course, but even S2 is pretty dang good as we've seen on several uses. If you haven't seen, I actually got a video of Magneto doing between 2 to 700 on specific nodes damage, 700,000 damage, which is special 2s, including 600,000 against non-metal champs. But of course, there was some node assistance there, but he can do some crazy S2 damage in addition to his S3, which he's become pretty well known for at this point since the buff. And again, hitting into the block, getting that poison, you would think I would learn by now. Kind of hard to, when you're used to playing a certain way, I like to hit into the blocks a lot normally. Well, one, because I use Corvus a lot, so you get that critical, but also I use it to keep them, I like them cornered against the wall. So, or as close to it as I can. One reason I like Dragon Man so far is you get actually bonuses for keeping them cornered, which that's how I like to play anyway. But you use block for hitting into block a lot for that, and such a force to have it for so many years, kind of hard to completely stop doing it on biohazard nodes like this. Normally I would have just brought a poison immune or used a poison immune. I did bring a poison immune, but haven't used them yet. But wanted to have a little more fun. Get a little lag there, which is always going to be a little bit of lag after new updates. And this will be my first time fighting or even seeing this Red Goblin, so it's fair warning every time I fight a new champ for the first time. Looking at these buffs, I always tend to do silly stuff. Of course, I could study and look. I'd rather just get in there and have fun. I tend to jump head first, and we'll learn together. See what I do that works, see what I do that doesn't work, and adjust from there. Alright, looking at some of his stuff. Knocked out. Okay. Well, let's figure this guy out. I never go into a new boss fight on a new champ expecting to solo. Those take a few practice and study, and I'd rather make it more natural. couple times through this, be easy solos, but for now, I'm looking, I saw the, a couple things that worried me, so I'm trying to play a safe, parry heavy combination. I'm worried about some misses based on the nodes I saw. That falter, I'm not a, okay, let's check out the okay. The special falter, and that's why I hate falter. Annoys me. You saw me just waste a beautifully stun heavy charge S2. He's a stupid falter, so that's why I'm trying to play kind of safe, but there's so many things going on up top as we see, trying to keep an eye on them and learning these specials. A lot of times I'll just take block damage on new champs while I'm learning, but so far his specials seem pretty simple to evade. Usually takes a few times to get the timing down on new specials. There we go, got my S2 in there, good 77, I think that was 1,000. See falter going on. Oh, he got falter, okay. Again, a good reason why it's good to read the nodes, be ready, and there's my misses. But so far, Captain America has seemed to be a great fit, and I spoke a slight bit too soon, just as I said that I took a couple good hits and missed a falter again. Well, I kind of jinxed myself there, but we did see up into my little mishap at the end. Captain America seemed to be a great counter, great use, but let's bring in War. You know what? Let's use Magneto. I don't got a whole lot of health left on him. For some reason, this isn't a metal champ, which looks like maybe that's a plastic flying doohickey he's got, I guess. But yeah, whatever it is, I don't know. Well, he's not metal, so I don't get that benefit, but I can still do some good with Magneto. I was having pretty good luck with a few exceptions with my heavy parry strategy based on the falter and based on the nodes, so figured he might be a good fit. Might not finish him since I'm low health, but let's see how this goes. And I got plenty of champs left. Once again, I don't go for perfection or solos on this, and I try to get fancy on that debate and learning that special, and that's what I get. So that was a pretty bad fight, but I still got a couple full health champs, so I'm not worried at all. Warlock, I am going to try to avoid making any more silly mistakes just so I can kind of finish this fight off here. Played around with them long enough, kind of get a feel for things. Finally, I'm not getting punished for hitting into the block. I'm actually tentative and scared of hitting into the block now because I kept killing myself or hurting myself heavily hitting into the block. So, and these specials, okay. Still trying to be somewhat cautious. And one of the nodes I need to, I just saw myself doing 0 health on him. That reminds me I have to do the heavy. There's too many different nodes and too many new abilities going on at once. It's easy to lose track of what's what. So had to heavy him to start doing some damage again. And did better on that special that time. Pretty simple. Stupid falter again. As we can see, not the biggest fan of falter, at least when I keep missing. Too many little shiny circles up there doing too many things to keep an eye on falter. And boom, missed again. Alright, let me just go back to a little bit of parry heavy maybe if I need to, because I keep swinging and missing. And getting close to getting down at this point. Knock on this too. I'm fine with taking the recoil damage here because I'm close to getting him down all the way. Just want to finish this fight off. Doing less health. Need to do a missed heavy again. And as we finish up this fight, gonna move on to 3.2 next, which will be the final little piece of the walkthrough for Chapter 3, and to conclude the overall 3-part series I've done for this new October event quest. So I already did 1.1 and 1.2 in chapter 1. I did 2.1 and 2.2 in chapter 2. And here we got 3.1 and 3.2. So 3.1, another success as the others as far as completely item free. So let's get 3.2 done completely item free on Cavalier difficulty as well. And I see skills get a nice little advantage. When the debuffs expire, I can benefit. So, and that's on for skill champ. So for me, this is easy choice on my 2 primary I'm going to use for this. Fury, and I got Blade there too if needed. I'm looking at, oh, there's too many nodes on this boss. That's a lot to read. So I might just jump in head first on that because I ain't doing all that reading. Alright, let's go this node. Go straight on up. By default, unless I see something that just sticks out at me, I tend to just go straight up first paths. Looking at myself, I want to do Blade. Was trying to remember if he was a dimensional being or not. I'm not seeing that tag, so let's go with Fury. Fury, this is a great node for Fury. I've showed in my 4-minute tutorial on Fury about doing internal bleeds and stacking and all those different things. I actually want my bleeds to expire. It's going to give me Fury buffs, so for that easy choice, I'm just going to end my combos on lights. Because one, I get that extra bleed damage and they expire quicker, which is going to get me Furies quicker. So it's a win-win. Easy choice here. I would assume that Nick Fury is going to be an amazing choice for this path. Unless I get surprised with something crazy or if I keep messing myself up like I was doing with hitting those silly blocks for poison on the last path. You know, talking about Fury with Nick Fury is always confusing. Am I talking about Fury as a Nick Fury? Or am I talking about the Furies as an attack rating? But anyway, so he's one of those I might just throw in the word Nick in front of his name when I'm talking about him, so you don't think I'm talking about the 15 or now 16 Furies Nick Fury has stacked up. Thanks to this node, just letting those, you see my strategy of medium, light, ending those combos on light has been very successful. And so I will keep moving forward with that, making a lot easier work on these fights. As we've seen on this being the 6th one between 1-1, 1-2, 2-1, 2-2, 3-1, 3-2, each one has had at least a couple champs who just completely dominated on the path based on the nodes. But plenty of other options and plenty of my previous paths you've seen me do. So far this event quest, even using champs that were not getting advantage or were not part of the class advantage, which is perfectly fine. But I want to kind of, if I got an advantage, I like to try to exploit it if I can or try to use it to my advantage. And so you will see me focus on that, and that will kind of help you see too based on different options. Again, trying to play fairly safe here. These should be very simple, straightforward fights based on the nodes and based on Fury. So my goal is just to not make any mistakes, try not to get that punched in the head, and then try to minimize them while I just play this kind of a safe round. I got plenty of health, plenty of damage. These paths aren't that many fights to begin with, so if I take some little parry, some block damage, it is zero big deal. Their attack ratings have been pretty low. I'm losing extremely little health from doing parries or even blocks, so I'm not too worried on it. It seems like the attack ratings are lower than last month's if I'm not mistaken, but depending on the content, they have high attack ratings. I'm not going to be parrying or blocking. If it's low, and there's a few fights, I am worried about taking a tiny bit of chip damage, taking damage with my suicides on anyways and running Fury, so not a big deal. So again, get those bleeds up, and we see as the bleeds expire, I get those Fury buffs. Again, why it's clearly a better idea to end with light attacks and try to get internal bleeds or end with mediums. At least for this fight based on the buffs or this path. You see me primarily focusing on S3s when I run suicides. Normally I like Fury's S2s, but I wanted to see how these fights go before I lose too much health on a recoil. They've been going very well, so I might get a little more easier going on my S2s, but S3s don't give me recoil damage, so I try to use those more when I'm running suicides, and worked out pretty well. Okay, let's go here, get to that portal. Going to Moon Knight now. And if anyone tries to read the story mode of my walkthroughs, I apologize. I try to sometimes watch it in case you're looking for it, but force the habit. I don't think I've read a storyline in years at this point on this game. Yeah. Easter egg storylines, yeah. That stopped a long time ago. Alright. So, same strategy. No need to change up what's working. I've been rolling through the fights very easily so far. So, why break? I mean, why fix what ain't broken? Alright, as I get to that, is 2 bars. I try to bait early on 2 bars of power on champs, just a force of habit in case that there was like a power gain that I missed somehow based on the champ abilities or a node or something, because I know I've been caught many times in the past, kind of push it close to the top of 2 and then get punished from some mysterious power coming in that I wasn't anticipating. Even though Moon Knight's fairly simple, I've already been taking extra damage from some nodes a few extra times on some of these paths already. Things I just overlooked or rushed through too quickly. But I found this game a lot more fun when you just jump in and learn as you go, and adjust a little bit as I go, as long as I can, I can hold my own. I would not go that route if I thought I was going to struggle with the path, and or if I thought I might need items. But no one, I'll get through it. Item free no matter what happens. Lets me play a little more, just jump on in. Punisher 2099. Got that recently buff a few days ago. If you haven't, I recommend watching my little overview buff upgrade. It's a quick little 6-minute video showing how he works now with that buff, with a little tutorial on how to use them. I was extremely impressed. I was surprised he hasn't got more love based on his buff, because I was very impressed. His utility is crazy and so easy to use now. Before he had utility but was much harder to access, now it's so easy. Heavily recommend that video if you haven't already seen it. I'm surprised he's gotten such mixed reactions, but I think people have gotten way too spoiled with these Colossus and Magneto buffs lately. But I think this is one who's going to come back later to where people are going to say, oh wow, we overlooked him. I really believe people are overlooking how good this buff really was for him. And you will see that quite happen. People are so quick to react on a champ unless they do 300,000 damage. Within seconds, sometimes people start to have high, unrealistic expectations and overlook his amazing utility. Well, Nick Fury has been doing great, so let's keep on rolling. So as we see, Fury has been a ridiculous MVP. If you got him, use him on this path. I think that's pretty goes without saying at this point. I had Blade to back up Fury in case I need him. I had Blade specifically so I could just parry to get bleeds and get those Furies up, was my initial thought process on him, but I just haven't needed him, and Fury's been doing so dang good. Poor Blade just sitting on the sideline. But Blade would work well. You just parry, get the bleed on them, do that several times. Your Furies, you can stack up to 20 Furies super quick like that with Blade, if so chose, based on these current nodes. But this has been working so well, it's a lot more fun. So just have kept going with this. And been a super easy path with Nick Fury. This was 3.2, the last section of Cavalier Difficulty. So wrapping up this with this fight. This is a champ I have never fought before. Know nothing about him. Haven't seen anything on him. So I'll just figure it out. But I probably might want to take a quick little look. Always expect a little bit of sloppiness first time I fight a new champ. Looking at some of his stuff. Bleed immunity is what I'm looking for. Yeah, that's why I brought Claire, assuming he was immune to bleed. I don't want to read all that. Okay, I'll figure it out. And yeah, 5 stacks intervention, knockdown, indestructible. Okay, we'll fight him. Let's see what happens. Let's see what works on Link. Why spend all this time reading stuff? Oh, I like that intro. That's pretty cool. Let's see what works and what doesn't work. So let me go with the normal strategy on Claire. He's immune to bleed, so you see how quick I gained that power. So you just got a... Oh, you got an indestructible on block. Okay, that special one was pretty simple. That was an accidental evade. Cool. Okay, let me get this judgment. I'm still learning this guy, figuring out what's neat. Although I probably should have got a couple extra charges up before I launched the S3. It's okay. I'll go ahead and give myself a little bit of wiggle room with this. Got touch of death, and I am losing health quickly. I did not see what is making me lose health quickly. Again, missed something on the nodes, and I just launched them right up to an S3. But I have touch of death, so I should... I'm not. I am very confused. I had touch of death active, which should have provided me death immunity, and it did not. So I could have overlooked something. That's why I wasn't worried about the S3. I should have been immune. I don't know if that was a bug or if I just overlooked something that got nullified. Probably cosmic judgment. Maybe that nullified that immunity. I'll have to look into that later. But don't rely on death immunity on this fight. How's that? I just learned that. So his specials, some unblockables and stuff like that. So my new theory is bring Dr. Voodoo in. Control the power. Get an S2. And I just took an unblockable right to the... Oh, that incinerate damage is brutal. Well, okay. Was this gonna block? No, I'm not used to that special yet, and it was unblockable, so that sure didn't work out well. Okay, this has been ugly. So let's just do what I should have done to begin with before I try to get fancy. It's some metal champ. Just bring in Magneto. Let's make this easy. So a couple mishaps. We've seen what could have worked, what didn't work. We've seen death immunity not working. We've seen that special just completely obliterate me. On that, some serious incinerate damage. If he really does great incinerate damage, or if that's just some node combination stuff, figure that out some other time. But so if you brought an incinerate champ, that could be immune. That could probably be some... Okay, what's he doing here? That could probably be helpful because that incinerate damage was intense. All right, so let's get... Okay, I'm feeling pretty happy. 190,000 S2. Okay, I should have just started with Magneto, right? Pretty much the answer to everything these days, especially metal champs. Well, thanks so much for watching. I hope you watch all 3 chapters and each video. Each chapter was on a separate video. Hope you enjoyed them all between chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. Hope this helps you to get item free, see what worked, adjust from what didn't work, and go from there. Best of luck. Don't forget to click on the top left icon coming up right about now, and be sure to subscribe. Thanks again for watching MCOC Al Bundy Rules.